Okay, so to talk about my first date that I had on Bumble, well, it's technically my second one, but I'm not going to count the actual first one because it's really not worth it, and I don't really want to talk about it because it's super boring. Just like the time that I had with the date, and I called it a date, not like an actual romantic date, like date as in like meeting up with one person and then you kind of hang out with them, like that kind of date, like a play date, I guess. But anyway, so my first date was at London, and it was my first time going to London, especially by myself. Um, and I don't really know about that place. It's my first time riding like a train, actually, right? And subways and buses and all that. So I was feeling a bit nervous. But as soon as I got there, I kind of realized that it's super similar to Seoul's transportation. I guess transportations don't really vary much based on countries. So I actually realized that I could do this by myself easily. But I was still thankful that I had a person who lives there because it's good for like spontaneous decision making. Like since I don't really have any information about the place, I have like the limit of spontaneity. But since he knows what's going on around here, he can kind of say, "Hey, you can do this and that." So that was nice. But anyway, so I met him on Saturday, and I got to London on a Friday. But I got Friday like 6:37, so it was super dark, and it was my first time like going to Enfield, so I didn't want to get lost, so I just went to my Airbnb straight. And then on Saturday, I was supposed to start my day at 10. So I sent this guy my itinerary for the day, and I told him, you can just join in anytime you want. And he said, I guess then I'll join from the start at 10. So we decided to meet up at 10:30. He was late, but I didn't really care because I was having a great time by myself. He got there, and we kind of talked. The weather was like super windy and super cold. Like the wind was basically icy. So we can really walk around a lot. I wanted to walk around, but I was honestly dressed kind of warm. Although I was wearing like a mini dress, I had my tights on, I had my scarf, my puffer jacket, and my gloves. As for him, he was wearing like short sleeves and like a hoodie and a coat, like obviously pants, but yeah. So he would have been definitely cold, and I couldn't just drag him around just because I don't feel as cold as him because he was like freezing to death next to me, literally. So yeah, so that kind of happened. Um, so I kind of had, I mean, I didn't really had to, but I just did it by the good of my heart. So I left the place earlier, and we went to this other place called 40 Holland Estates. It's supposed to be like this, like um, like a big garden thing, and then there's like a old historical mansion where rich people lived in the past, like a house. Um, so I honestly really don't like history, really, but so I don't actively look up historical facts, but I do like reading about it when I go to places like that. He seemed kind of bored though, so if I were by myself, I would have spent like an hour there, but since he seemed kind of bored, I just kind of skimmed a lot of parts, and then we got out. And then the next place that we had to go was this vintage, no, this Enfield Market. So I was expecting the market to be pretty big, so I thought it would take us some time, also considering the amount of people there. But apparently there were not a lot of people, and the market was super small. There wasn't really anything to look at, just like the classic markets, like little handmade accessories and food trucks, hats, stuff like that. So we left there like we didn't even walk around for like 10 minutes, just like 2 minutes, and then he was like, "So you want to get something to eat?" Honestly, I wasn't planning to eat anything. I wasn't really feeling hungry, and I just don't like eating because I feel like that kind of cuts the rhythm, like the whole flow of the trip. Like I want to finish everything and then maybe get something to eat. But I guess like yeah, we could do that because our next stop is this vintage shop called Christie's. Christie's vintage shop, but it's supposed to open at 2, but it was only like 1 or something. So we decided to eat at this Greek place, which was close, and it was nice. It was pretty good. Um, and then we went to this Christie's vintage shop, but it was also very very small, and it didn't have the plate I was looking for. So I was looking for a plate where I could put my sandwich, which is basically what I eat every day. But all the plates there, I could barely fit like a piece of bread. It was like super small, like this big, right? So I got out of there, and I was ready to head back to my Airbnb. I was supposed to go to this park. I don't remember what the name was, but since he was freezing to death, I thought maybe I could go over there by myself. Then we'd say goodbye. He would just go back to his home and all that. But he actually mentioned I got lunch, so he said I'll get dinner then. I didn't really say that loud, but I was thinking I wasn't planning to stay until dinner with him, but since he's doing me a favor basically, like showing me around, like just hanging out with me, um I thought why not? And I actually liked him. He was super sweet. Yeah, so he offered, so hey, do you want to go to central London? I could show you around near my school and stuff, like campus and stuff. I always say school, but anyway, yeah. So I was like, sure. But he didn't know that my Airbnb was in Enfield. So when he realized that, he was like, are you sure you want to go? Because it's going to take some time for you to get back to your Airbnb. And I was like, well, that's cool. I was going to go to London, like central London tomorrow anyway. So I guess I'll just count that as like doing it earlier. And then I can leave tomorrow late than I had planned. So yeah, we did that. And actually, I was actually enjoying his company a lot. So I was like glad to stay longer with him. But like most of the thing, what I really liked about him was like he was super gentlemanly. So um, I mean, I don't really hang out with guys that much, and most of the guys that I hang out with, they're not really gentlemanly. They're just like casual guys. You see, he was like super gentlemanly. I don't know like where he learned that or if he was brought up like that. But for instance, he would like let me sit inside the aisle. Like I would sit by the window. So if he gets on the train first, he would like offer me to go inside. I don't know why he did that really, but yeah, he did that. So I thought that was nice. And like when we were on like the escalator, if he went on first, he always went on first though. He would kind of face me, like turn around and face me. I thought that was super sweet too. I mean, like I do that too when I'm with my friends in Seoul. We have a lot of escalators around there, but usually I'm the one that turns around and faces my friends. And since I'm the shorter friend, um, we would be at eye level, so it wouldn't be like awkward. We would just be like looking eye to eye. When on like just normal ground, I would have to kind of look up a little. But since he was taller than me and he was also in top, like the higher step of the escalator, you're kind of looking down and I had to look up. So that was a little awkward, but I thought that was still sweet, and he was generally super sweet. So I had a great time, and yeah. So my first date, I just wanted to call this my first date. My first date was successful, and I'm glad that I met a good person in London, and he showed me around. We went to Big Ben. He walked around um, Trafalgar Square, but I think there was like a football game or something, so there were a lot of people. And then um, I was like, okay. So he was like, I guess you're still full to get dinner, and I was like, oh, no, I was only planning to get dinner. I was just gonna head back home. And I was like, oh, are you tired? But honestly, he was the one that has been saying like he slept super late, like 3 a.m. and he was like super tired. So when we got on the train, it was like only 6 minutes, but he was snoring. That was kind of funny, but yeah. So I thought that was also very nice of him because he was like snoring to death, like sleep death, but yet he still offered to kind of hang around with me. So I thought that was nice. And then when I showed him like how I would go, he was like, "Oh, I could go with you until King's Cross," but then he said like it is on his way. It's just kind of like going around, but it would have been great to go together. But it's tiring, and he has to go home. He needs to sleep. I also would enjoy my alone time, learn to take the subway by myself, right? So I was like, oh, don't worry about it. I can do it. I took a lot of subways back at home, like in Seoul. So yeah, I'm used to it now. But thank you for everything today. So yeah, we said goodbye, and he said if he ever comes to York, he will like text me. Yeah, but yeah, it was super fun. So that was great.